In today's show, we're going to learn about Power Automate desktop flows. That's right, those little RPA, robotic process automation, fun little things that you get for free with Windows 10 and Windows 11. We're going to get you started with them, show you a little bit about how to get installed, and then build our first one and grab some data. Should be fun, should be fast. But first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with Power Apps 911. Those guys, and today, we're going to talk about desktop flows, thanks to Power Automate. Right, and the idea of a desktop flow is just automating a process on your local PC. So that could be something like go to a website, grab some data, and then send that via an email, or maybe save it to Excel, or go log into a form and fill out a bunch of data, right? Trying to automate those repetitive tasks that you have to do locally on your machine because they don't maybe have an API endpoint or some fancy way of doing it, and it really just takes brute force. But you literally click the same buttons every day. We're going to talk about how you can use Power Automate desktop flows to train it to click the buttons so you can get back to playing Free Cell or Solitaire or Candy Crush or whatever it is you guys do these days. Should be fun. So let's just switch over to my desktop and take a look. All right, so over here on the desktop, I've got it already open, but maybe we should back up a step and talk about how to get to it. So the easiest way for me to get started with this, how I found it to begin with when it first rolled out, was come over here to my good friend flow.microsoft.com, right? You go there, it'll log you into the right version of Power Automate for you, depending on your region and whether you're like a GovCloud or something like that. And then once you get here, what you can do is you can click on my dear friend create. And then after a second, it loads up and you're going to see over here towards the right, a desktop flow. And so if you click on desktop flow here, it's going to start you down, right? You can see that for me, it's already like, hey, launch the app. But if you didn't have it, it'd have a link off to the installer and all of those fun things. And if you don't have all of those links or you're like having a hard time finding it, I'll put this link down in chat, or not in chat, down in the description or the body. I don't know, below the video, you know where they go. And so this will walk you through how to do the install. But the install is a traditional next, finish. You don't have to think. You're just going to download the installer, press a couple buttons, and then log in. And then once you log in, you're going to potentially install Power Automate browser extensions, which I think you're going to want. You're going to see in the demo that we're about to do, we're going to use these browser extensions. So you probably want to deploy these to your browser of choice. But if you only use Edge, you don't have to deploy it to Chrome or vice versa. And so then once you've kind of got all this installed, now we're happy. Now we would be able to jump in and open up the Power Automate client, right? So you go to your start button and then start and then Power Automate, and you should see it show up. Now, if you launch it and you can't find it, which has happened to me more than once, what you're going to want to do is you're going to look in your bottom right-hand corner, like your little task tray or whatever they call those little icons. I got a screenshot up right now. And then you'll see the little Power Automate icon, it's a little blue icon. And if you right-click on that, you can say Open Power Automate Console. And that will let you do what you want to do, right? I had a hard time with that. I kept launching it. And because it launched into the little notification area, I was like, I don't understand where it's at. Eventually, I realized that I could go find the icon. So, trying to save you guys the pain that was some of my experience with this. Okay, so now you come in here. It is super unexciting. It's about as much of a boring UI as you could ever hope for, but that's okay because all we're really looking to do here is click on New Flow up at the top. So we're going to say New Flow. It wants us to give it a name, and so we'll call this Video Flow because I'm very creative. And then we're going to say Create. And so then it'll get things ready. Once it's done, then it'll drop you into the builder, which is a lot better of a UI than the plain white screen we just left. Okay? And so now we're in here. What do we do, right? It's like you don't have any actions. You should probably tell me to do something. So over here on the left, you're going to see lots and lots of categories of actions. And so honestly, you're just going to kind of want to flip through these and find what you are looking for. So in my case, I think what we're going to do in this flow is we're going to build a flow that's going to go out to a website. It's going to screen scrape some information off the website, right? Screen scraping, something we sometimes have to do. We don't have an API. So go copy some info, and it's going to email me that info just because it gives us a chance to kind of look at the UI, the experience here. So nothing too crazy. Also, as I go through the demo, don't get caught up on the actual scenario, right? We're not building a scenario because I think everyone needs to build what we're about to build. What I'm trying to do is expose you guys to how it works. So to that end, love when my voice just cracks. I'm 40-something years old. My voice just randomly goes. What do you do? Anyway, so what we're going to do over here is we're going to kind of get started with starting with a little browser automation. Now you'll notice up here as well, there's a web recorder. So if you want to record a web session and kind of have that drop in, or the desktop session. But to me, those kind of feel like magic, right? And I don't want magic. I want to kind of put this thing together myself. So I'm gonna go over here to the browser automation, expand it out. And so you're gonna see if I make it a little bit bigger, we've got some different ways to launch the browser extensions. And so, web form filling and, launching sessions and all types of things. There's a lot here you should really dig into, but we're not going to overdo it today. So what I'm going to start with is the first thing I needed to do is to open a browser window. So I'm going to say, hey, launch me a new Microsoft Edge. I'm going to drag that over here and just drop it in. And so when you go to do this, it says, hey, what should I do? Should I launch a new one? Or should I attach to a running instance? Well, I'm not sure I'll always have a running one. I probably will, but I'm just going to launch a new one. And then it's like, all right, what's your initial URL? Well, so let's open a browser session and find a URL. So I'm gonna go back over here. There you go, open a new tab. And so what I wanted to do was I'm gonna go out to www.coinbase.com. And so we're gonna go out here and go to the prices. And I wanna get this Ethereum price off of here, right? So this is our goal, is to get this price out of here and email it to myself. And then eventually we're gonna write it to an Excel file as well. So there you go, it's down 0.2, I'm broke. Anyway, so that's where I wanna go. So I'm gonna copy the URL, because this is the site. So go back to my flow. And so the initial URL will be that. Now there's other things here that I could jump through, right? So as I've always teach in my classes, always click on advanced and just look through these and make, all right, nothing there I really care about, but just good to what I refer to as plant seeds, the future things I might wanna do with it. The same with the variable produced, so it's going to create a variable called browser. And this is important because we're going to need that variable in a second because we want to tell the next step how to use this browser. So we're going to say save. Over here on the right, we can see our browser variable is here. Great. So then now what do I want to do? Now I want to grab some data off the screen, right? So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say web data extraction and extract data from a web page. So we'll pull it over here. Now, when I do this, it's like, oh, you may pull that from that browser you just opened? I do. Thank you for that. And I want to store the data in a variable or an Excel spreadsheet. Well, for right now, we're just going to put it in a variable. And it's going to make a variable called data from web page. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one. I'm going to rename this. We're going to call this, instead of data from web page, we're going to call this ETH price. Make it easier for ourselves later. So there we go. We're going to say save. Now you notice we get an error, right? So parameters, execution parameters can't be empty. Uh-oh. So it's like, hey, this is where it came from. I double clicked on it. I don't want that. Close. Let's close out of this. Let's go double click on this again. And so it's like, hey, once you do this, you got to tell me where to get it. And so look, bringing an actual web browser window to the foreground while this dialog is open will activate the live web helper. Oh, yeah, probably should do that then, right? So let's open up that. And now as it opens, you can see that I start to have the web page and I can start to select objects. And if I pull this over here where you can hopefully see it, let's see if I can make this thing fit. So there you go. You can see that this is the little tool, but I'm gonna go in here. So this is that ETH price I wanted. So I'm gonna drill in there. I'm gonna right click on it. And I'm going to say extract element value. And I'm gonna do it as text. And so you can see the format that comes out as text. So this is giving me a chance to drill in and understand what it's getting. So depending on how you're pulling the data, what you're pulling from, you're gonna see different context here and have to think about it differently. But for me, simply just grab that piece of text. So we'll do that. It extracts that. We say finish. And so then now it is a little happier, I think. So now we can say save. And there you go. So we've launched our browser. We've grabbed the price of ETH. Now I want to close my browser, right? I don't want to leave that browser open all day. I'll close the web browser. Which browser do I want to close? I want to close browser. Weird to say browser to close browser, but whatever. Say save. Okay, so that's got the pieces for us, right? We've launched Edge. We've scraped a piece of information off of it. And now we've closed the browser, but in this variable called ETH price, we have that. So now what do I want to do with it? Well, we're going to do two things, but we're going to do one at a time, make this a little more straightforward for us. And so the easiest thing for your first one is to just send it as an email. So we're going to go down here to Outlook. And the first thing I probably need to do is launch Outlook, right? Make sure Outlook is open. Drop that in here. It's going to call it Outlook instance. Great. Save. And then we're going to say send a new email message through Outlook. So drop that in here. And so it's like, all right, what Outlook instance? Well, the one we just opened. What account? So in mine, especially, I have a lot of different accounts. So we're just going to use my Shane at Power Apps 911. Send an email message from that account. Who are you going to send it to? I'm going to send it to myself, but I could send it to anyone, right? I'm just making this easy to send it to myself right now. Perfect. And then we're going to say the current price of ETH, right? Ethereum, for those of you that are in the cryptocurrency. And then in the body, the price is, and then a lot like we do with regular flows, we're going to add some dynamic content or add the variable. So I'm going to select the variable from over here. And it's like, well, I have the browser and I don't want that. We have ETH price. That's what we want. So we're going to select that and say select. Now the price is, and then ETH price. That looks great. I don't need to worry about the body being HTML or not. I don't need attachments, right? But these are all things that you could play with. We're just not going to do it right now. So we're going to say save, right? This is just about spamming me so I feel cool. I get more emails, right? My mom used to page me when I was a kid. And so that made me feel cool. So now I send myself emails with flows to feel cool. Yeah, whatever. Okay, now the next thing I want to do here is close Outlook. But I'm going to skip a step. Oh, so it's what one you want to do, Outlook instance. So we'll say save. And so one of the things that I was finding when I was testing this earlier was that if I open Outlook, send an email and close it, the close was sometimes happening too fast. So what I ended up doing was going over here and searching for a delay. Nope, not delay, for wait. There you go. So a wait. And so I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drop this wait in between these two. So notice how I'm dragging it and putting it between two actions. And then it's like, how long do you need to wait for? And so honestly, like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, this is just one of those things that I just found this made it work better for me. So send a mail message, wait a few seconds, make sure the mail message actually gets sent, and then close Outlook. You know what? I think at this point we've got enough to prove that this does or doesn't work. So what are we going to do? We're going to say save up here in the top. And because I was recording, it took like 12 minutes to save. Not really. It took like 30 seconds, but it was forever for me. Okay, so now it's saved. Now we're going to hit the play button to run the flow. So it's going to run. You can see the window pop open here. It launched. It's launching Outlook. Outlook's behind. So we're waiting 10 seconds. Then the wait's over. It closed. Everything should be good. So let me go check my inbox real quick. 1 second. And look at that. We got a simple email. The price is $43.09.98. So it went and scraped the live price off of their website. That's pretty cool, right? So imagine that it's one of those deals where every day you have to go find your biggest customer and how much did they order, and your boss wants you to send it to them, but they didn't want to log in the website. And, so you could automate this, right? So you could just run this flow and then there you go. It would go grab the info, send it off your email, maybe put in a 10-minute delay so you get a cup of coffee, maybe pretend like you're working the whole time. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. But there you go. So a pretty straightforward first flow. Now, with that, we're feeling pretty good. We're going to go a step further. So that one was pretty easy. I hate to say easy, pretty straightforward. So what I want to do now is I want to try to save this data also to Excel, right? So we're going to use Excel as a database. Yikes. I don't know. I just thought this was a good example of honestly something you guys are going to do, even though I prefer we were putting it in a real database. You're also probably thinking, Shane, there's like APIs. We could do all this programmatically. I get that. Remember, we're not overthinking the scenario. We're just looking at the tools. So to do Excel, I'm going to go over here and look, and somewhere in this hot mess is Excel. I realize you probably all see it and it's just going to like bite me if it was a snake, whatever. We'll search for Excel. There it is. I see it. It was higher than I thought. Okay. So Excel, it even has a whole bunch of advanced actions. What? No, thank you. So we think the first thing I want to do, probably launch Excel, right? And so speaking of that, we're going to launch Excel. Do you want to do it with a blank document or open an existing document? I want to open an existing. And before I open that there, I'm going to go here and show it to you guys. So 1 sec. So here is the Excel file. You can see that I've just been putting in ETH prices all day. They fluctuate quite a bit. And I've just been computing an average price. This is my little Excel database for tracking this stuff. So this is the file we're going to use. So I'm going to close this. Let's say document path, select the file. You get a traditional browse interface here. And so somewhere in this mess, you should see, let's try quick access. There we go. There's my ETH price. So then that puts in the path to the file. And, do I want it to show or not? Yeah, I mean, I guess I do. I don't care. Especially when I'm learning, I want to make sure it's flashing on the screen so I know it's happening. But if you really have this automation and you want it to be like unbeknownst to you, then maybe you turn some of that off. Don't want it read only if we want to write some data. There's passwords and load add-ins and macros. No, thank you. And it's going to create a variable. All right. So launch in Excel. Launch does two things, right? Launch it and open the file. So then now what I want to do is I need to find the next row that is blank. So thankfully they thought of this for us and they gave us an action right here called get first free column row. So we're going to drag that over from Excel instance and it's going to produce first free column, first free row. Very cool because what we want is the first free row. So we're going to skip both. We're going to say save. Now what do I want to do? Now what I want to do is I want to write to an Excel worksheet, right? So we're going to grab this, pull this down. All right, so the Excel instance parameter. What value do I want to write? We're going to write the ETH price. So I'm going to click on little variables. There you go, ETH price, select, write mode on specified cell. Now on the column, it's always going to be column 1 in our spreadsheet, right? So because that's the column I had the ETH price on. So just put the column number 1, and it's happy. But for the row, we're going to use our variable because remember we did the first free row. So we're going to select that. And I apologize to select off the bottom of the recording. What do you do? And so then now we've got 1 and first free row. So we're going to save that. So that will get that in there. Now do you remember I also beside it I had the date and timestamp. So to write that second column, I'm going to just do another write to Excel. And so we're going to kind of do the same thing. Excel, value to write. Oh, wait, but how do I get the date time? Oh, I don't have that. Well, cancel. We're going to hit save. Now, when I hit save, it's real angry because it knows it has parameters. But unlike Cloud Flows, I can, actually save my half work. So there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back up here. Before I launched Excel, I'm going to search here for date. And look, there is a get current date and time. Cool. So I'm just going to drop that right here. That is going to get the current date and time. What time zone? I want to use the system time zone, right? So I want it my local Eastern time for me. And it's going to do a variable called current date time. Fair enough. We'll save that. It's reminding me it's still angry. Every time you save, it's going to yell at you for being angry. So we'll do that. But now if we go back down here and I double click, what do I want to write? I want to write the current date time. Select. And then I want to, on the specified cell, this time it's the second column I want to write. Remember, we want to move 1 to the right. And then for the row, it'll still be that same row that we did before, which was the first free row. So we're going to say select, and we're going to say save. Haha, look at that. The error messages didn't show up that time. And then if we just go back to our friend Excel again, can Shane find Excel again? Oh, he did. Good job. Then I'm just going to close Excel when I'm done. Do not save. No, you better save this document. But look at that, save document and save document as. Nice touch, Microsoft. Save document. We'll say save. Man, this looks pretty good. Let's hit save up here on our actual flow, right? I feel good. So we're going to hit play, right? And we're going to see the flashing of the browser. The email is going to load behind the scenes. When the email loads up, right, it's going to wait the 10 seconds. Which once again, we did that just because I was finding that it was going too fast. 10 seconds might be still too long. Did all that. It launched Excel. I think everything happened. I don't know. I was busy talking. Let's go over here and open up Excel. One sec. Look at that. 6:09 p.m. 4/13/98. So you can see that, hey, Ethereum went down. It went back up. It went down again. Welcome to the joys of owning cryptocurrency. But there you go. So with a little bit of fun, a little bit of work, we wrote our first one it's got some pieces, right? I wanted to make the first one really helpful for you guys. Okay, so now you've saved it, we should probably talk a little bit about how you use it, right? So let's go ahead and close this. We're done with it. We've written a beautiful masterpiece. Close that out. So video flow over here. Now, what's different about these desktop flows, the free edition, which is what we're using right now, right, is we can't schedule this. So if I want this to run, I'm literally going to come in here and click on the play button to run it. So if I want to run it every morning when I come in, I need to run it. Currently, there aren't any shortcut keys. I can't, have something else that runs it. I have to literally come in here and run it from here. And that's where that little run desktop flow tool runs in the below. Now, up here in the middle, you see Go Premium. If you go Premium, as you'll see, Microsoft, take your RPA journey to the next level. Yeah. We're not going to do that. But what you can do with that one is with a RPA license that is actually like a premium license, you can start to take advantage of integrating these with the cloud and do things like have these run on a schedule and start to get some of those actual automate yourself out of a job. So not only can you have it automate while you're sitting here drinking your coffee, but you can even have it automated while you're sitting out at the beach because you just have the machine set. So robotic process automation is one of those things that sounds scary and daunting, and it's a lot of really big companies that are heavily investing in it. But I'll be honest, I think that there's a lot of these little personal ones that you guys could be doing to start to kind of get your heads wrapped around it and just automate yourself, right? Like my first job as a network system administrator, cool guy, my whole thing was automation because they gave me 8 hours worth of work and I automated myself really, really, really good. So I could do it all in about an hour. And I had 7 hours to work on free cell. I was really good at free cell. Okay. So I'm not really encouraging you to do that, but let machines do what machines are good at, right? And I think robotic process automation is the key to that. And the fact that it's free, that you can get started, you can use that web recorder, the desktop recorder, and start to simulate yourself doing things like logging into an AS400, going to screen 12, then to screen 3, then to screen 7, and then getting the customer account info, right? Can you tell my first job was an AS400 guy? It was. So you can start to do that type of stuff. You just have to start investing a little bit of time in learning tools like this. And so speaking of learning tools like this, I guess I would ask, this isn't my normal thing, right? I usually do Power Apps, Power Automates, cloudy stuff. You guys like this? You want to see more of these? You have ideas? Tell me below. Or maybe you're like, no, Shane, get back to Power Apps. Stay in your lane. That's fair too. So, but yeah, I think with all that, I'm going to say thanks and have a great day. Before you go, be sure to click on the subscribe button over here so that way you'll be notified when new videos come out. If you need any help or you want to work together, whether your problem is big or small, check us out at Power Apps 911. We do it all. I rhymed. Or if you're looking for more formal training offerings, we have those linked up here somewhere. So check them out. Thanks and have a great day.